Assalamu alaikum. My name is Saad bin Amal Sakin. Today I'm going to describe about our paper. So our topic is biometric authentication based on EEG. So what is EEG? EEG means electroencephalography. It is a new type of biometric in-person recognition. A person's brain activity can be sensed using EEG, which provides some unique neural signature consisting of relevant subject specifications information which can be used for biometric identification. It also solution for improving cybersecurity in financial fraud and security threats. It mainly being used in authentication of cybersecurity because of its uniqueness of EEG. In the main advantage of using it, the electrical activities and brain signal are different for each person and cannot be faked or duplicated. Sometimes it may differ to be uniqueness due to its changes in the brain signal due to emotional stress. Uh, Electroencephalography is a method of record an electrogram of the electrical activity of the brain. EEG is a brain signal for an authentication process. An EEG is a test that detects abnormalities in your brain waves or in the electrical activity of your brain. The electrodes detects tiny electrical charges that result from the activity of your brain cells. It is a process for authenticate a user using brain activity. When this painless test is performing, some small sensors are attached to the scalp of examined to pick up the electrical signals proceed by their brain, and that time those signals are recorded by a machine and are looked at by a doctor. There is a system where users are asked to provide EEG signal for authentication by performing motor imaginary tasks. These tasks can be signal or combined or depending on the level of security required. So my next group member will continue his part.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Mofij Mojib Haider. I am going to explain the literature review of this paper. Joyat Hane proposed a new approach for authentication based on EEG brain signals. Their system asks the user to visualize a number while EEG signals are captured for authentication. Their approach captures alpha and beta combined frequency within 8 to 30 Hz. Subasi proposed a versatile signal processing and analysis framework for seizure prediction for epileptic patients. In this framework, signals were decomposed into subbands using DWT and PCA-ICA LDAs used to reduce the dimension of data. Zainali at examined the efficacy of single channel brainwave based authentication system and determine the best electrode location for various mental tasks. They came to conclusion that to it the channel optimization can achieve improved performance by lowering the number of EEG channels. Firm used EEG to authenticate user in system with many levels of security where users are asked to give an EEG signal for authentication by completing motor imagery tasks. Depending on the amount of security necessary, these actions can be performed alone or in combination. The findings of their work will be used to analyze motor imagery EEG signals. Monsi proposed an EEG-based biometric identification method that makes use of a unique feature called frequency-weighted power, which in comparison to our current EEG feature enables higher discrimination in the person identification process. A certain frequency is multiplied by the relevant power density value and added to the specific band to get the equivalent representation of power known as FWP. For EEG-based authentication, Chin compared imagined and non-imaginary tasks. The study established that imaginary tasks are more appropriate for authentication. Bashar presented a method for identifying people using EEG signals from such affordable devices as the market for inexpensive wireless EEG recording equipment is rapidly growing. The, the EEG signal is initially pre-processed to remove noise and artifacts being a bandpass FIR filter.
Hello, I am Tariq bin Shams. I will discuss the rest of the paper, including methodology, result, and analysis and conclusion. So, in methodology, firstly, we need to get the EG signals. The raw EG signals were taken by 9 participants, all of whom were female and ranged in age from 18 to 25, utilizing a 5-channel mobile EG equipment called Emotive Insight. Over the course of 6 weeks, 9 people were interviewed and recorded several times. The recorded people were asked to sit in a reclined chair and stay calm and relaxed the whole time. Each subject had one trial during each session. Each trial had two parts, eye closed and eye opens. So now pre-processing, in most cases the data derived from EEG are noisy. Before feature extraction can start, the number of different disturbances and artifacts need to be cut down as much as possible. We used a bandpass FIR filter to eliminate disturbance caused by body motion and the power line frequency, which was set at 60 Hz. Now the feature extraction. In our feature extraction steps, we use SVM, support vector machine, the foundation of support vector machines in research conducted in the field of computational learning theory. More and more people are looking at using them in biomedical settings because of how accurate they are and how well they handle a big number of predictors. Most earlier classifiers used hyperplanes to make this division, which is essentially a flat plane inside the predictor space that serves to visually divide the classes. Then we use principal component analysis, uh, or PCA. It is a method that has been used for a long time to find features and reduce the number of dimensions. The purpose of principal component analysis is to find a way to represent data with d-dimensional in a space with fewer dimensions. This means that there will be a fewer level of freedom and a simpler way to show space and time. The goal is to describe the data in a space that gives the best and clearest expression of variance in terms of sum squared error. The most important use for this method is separating signals from various sources. Uh, mm, Now, linear discriminant analysis. The goal of linear discriminant analysis in our paper is to produce a new variable that are composite of the original predictor. To do this, we maximize the gap between the groups we have already specified and new variable. The objective is to build a new composite variable in discriminant score by combining the scores of the predictors. Now I am discussing the result and analysis part. In order to obtain the statistical characteristics, the EEG signals were decomposed using Wavell transform after standardization. Next, PC and LD are used to decrease the dimensionality of these characteristics. These records served as inputs for support vector machine-based categorization system. The purpose of modeling stage in this application was to develop classifiers that could determine if a particular set of input belonged to the normal or abnormal group. In this stage that deals with categorization, K-fold cross-validation with a value of 5 has been used. Additionally, to assess the categorization efficiency, we will be using the criteria of accuracy and F score. when all the user data was entered into the systems that had been created. All potential pairings were produced for 9 subjects. Out of 66 possible combinations, there were 64 pairings that could be categorically deemed correctly categorized and 2 pairs that were incorrectly classified. The suggested technique is capable of authenticating user with an accuracy of 81.81% for the alpha band space, 90.991 for the beta band, and the 96.97 for the combined frequency band, which is E to 30 Hz. When a user is being authenticated, the test data is compared with all the learned model that are linked with the user in question. In each scenario, a user needs to be evaluated alongside 8 other participants. If each of the tests come back positive, it is determined that the person who claimed ownership of the data collected in questions is correct. Now the conclusion and the future work part. Due to EEG's limited spatial resolution, different areas of the brain are engaged during mental tasks. Reliable channel selection is critical for authentication system. This study categorizes EEG data and EEG-based authentication system using several classifiers. Electrodes do not affect the mental process of seeing number, so removing them should increase precision. We capture data from every device channel to get a complete signal landscape. Since this system encourages creative or critical thinking, beta is ideal. Alpha and beta combined are more accurate yeah, either either band alone. We will soon test EEG-based authentication on a huge dataset. The system's vulnerabilities and EEG signals for remote authentication will be studied. Here is our paper. That's all my presentation. Thank you very much.